Hello, happiest hour on earth, fam. Welcome back to another episode. We're really excited for tonight's episode. We are going to be talking about what it would look like if Disneyland opened a third gate. This has been kind of a hot topic, I feel like, in the Disney community. It's something that we've all dreamed about and hoped for, considering what Walt Disney World has over on the East Coast. I think we've all kind of dreamed of what it would look like if we got an expansion like that. So we've got some ideas of our own. We've got some ideas from followers on Instagram. We've got some fun stuff to talk about. So let's go ahead and jump in.
All right, so if you heard last week, we decided that we're probably not going to do a Disney snack or drink every single week just because of kind of schedules and being parents and
Costs.
Doing it every week and costs and all this stuff. So we do not have a drink for tonight. I was looking kind of at the last minute to see what we could do, but we've already done so many that it's harder to find recipes or the exact ingredients. A lot of them get even
Some are
more niche
complicated.
ingredients.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit hard, but hopefully next week we will have one because we are going to be having a special guest on the show, and it'll just be so fun to make something special when she comes on a show. And
I think we will.
Yeah, it's going to be so great. We're so excited to have her on. So definitely tune in next week. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube or follow us on any podcasting platforms so that you do not miss it. But with that, I am excited to jump into this because this is something that every Disney fan wants. I mean, we've had some expansions in the past. Sometimes pretty much like most of the times something has to go away in order for something new to be built.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
and there's not much we can do about that at the moment because there's not much that I think we would remove within the parks. It's already maxed out on space, and I don't think that you could open another park by any means by taking out things currently in the park. There's just no way.
It's already so well loved. So
yeah,
it's hard because when Disneyland first opened, you guys probably know the story if you're big Disney fans, but Walt built Disneyland, and soon after that, hotels and stores and everything got built up right around it because everyone wanted to be right near the park. So it really constricted the land that Disney has to work with in Disneyland. So Disney California Adventure was built on a parking lot right next to it. So they had to move parking elsewhere. When it came to Walt Disney World, Walt Disney wanted to make sure that the public didn't know that he was buying land. So he put it under different names. Bought them in a weird order, and so pretty much, they were able to secure a whole bunch of land. And I forgot the statistics, but there's so much land that they have that they haven't even touched. So
it's like 30 acres or miles or something left. I think that hasn't been touched.
That. I could be wrong about this, but I think when Disney bought all of this, they said that they would keep a certain portion of it untouched just to, keep the swampland around it or something, preserve the natural habitat that's there. But I have to look back in it. But there's something about that. But yeah, there's a lot that they could still do in Disney World, but not that much that they could do in Disneyland. And so
we're pretty maxed out.
We are, and it's such a bummer because they really can't buy any more land. They have to work with what they have currently. So where would this third park even go? And so there's been a lot of talk about this, what they could do. And I think the most plausible thing, if they were able to open a third gate, is creating a third park at Downtown Disney and the parking lots that are right next to Downtown Disney.
Which means relocating Downtown Disney.
Yeah.
Which means technically they would have to buy up some extra property. Because our thought, well, I guess you're talking.
No. Go for it.
Well, our thought, and maybe some of you as well have thought of it as well, but we were thinking of being able to expand Downtown Disney to the Garden Walk, which is close by. It's kind of across the street.
Yeah, from California Adventure. like Cars Land.
Yeah.
Across that block is the Anaheim Garden Walk.
It's kind of like a shopping center type situation, kind of like downtown Disney. So it wouldn't be too hard to Disneyfy, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's exactly the same size. It may not be quite as big as the space that they have for downtown Disney. So not quite sure how that would work, but you can explain more of the details.
Yeah, so that's actually where the House of Blues moved to. Remember, the House of Blues was in downtown Disney. Then they actually went to the Garden Walk.
What's there now? What's the name of the bowling alley?
Oh, Splitsville, right?
Splitsville, yeah.
Yeah, so they would have to, buy the Garden Walk and kind of Disneyfy it, like you said. And in order to make it still feel connected, I believe they would need to kind of create like a pedestrian bridge that's only for people who are coming from Disney that kind of goes over Harbor Boulevard into the Garden Walk. Maybe they do that so that like a tram could go there too. But they could kind of do it because if you don't know, if you're in downtown Disney, there's a section like near the Lego store where cars actually go underneath you, but they do it in a way where it doesn't really feel like that. Because it's all like lined with the palm trees and everything kind of seems high up and you don't realize that there's cars going beneath you. But so something similar to that would be cool. But if that were the case, if they could relocate downtown Disney, which is really sad because we love downtown Disney where it's at, but they could take that whole area, which would be weird because it would be kind of like a linear land, but right next to the Disneyland Hotel, there are 2 parking lots that are
pretty big parking
Some of them, a lot of people park there to go to downtown Disney. So there's one on the left. I forgot what that one's called. There's one to the right, which is like the Stitch parking. And then there is, I think the one on the left is like the Lion King parking. I may be wrong.
Oh yeah, I think
it
you're
sounds
right.
like that. But you might be able to do that without touching the Mickey and Friends parking structure. But if you I don't know, maybe you do touch that to make it a little bit bigger of a land, or a bigger of a park. But I don't know what you would do with parking.
You need
that's some logistics
parking.
where you need to do. They might have to take everyone kind of off site and then kind of shuttle everyone in,
which is always a bummer. Every time we have to do that, it's like, it feels like it just takes so much longer.
Yeah.
Maybe they would just have to buy up more land for more parking. I don't know.
Yeah. That's the weird thing. And maybe there will be a block of, hotels or businesses that would be willing to sell, but you also don't want to like encroach on those businesses. It's kind of hard, but I think that's the most plausible because you want it close to the other parks. And so I'd rather have a third park there and have downtown Disney a little walk away, So
and it would make the most sense because already the 2 parks between them is the Esplanade area.
Yeah.
And so it would make sense for the other area of that to be another park.
How amazing would that be? Because the Walt Disney World people are always so shocked when you could park hop just by walking a few feet.
Across,
and you're like, we could park hop to 3 different places.
Yeah.
Within the same
It would be so
area.
nice.
That'd be so fun.
It is a very different experience. Coming from Disneyland, going to Disney World, I was like, you have to drive between every park. And it was like such a shock to me.
And that wouldn't work here because I thought about that too. Well, let's just buy a plot of land somewhere and then that could be another park. But the thing is, in Disney World, you're on a highway with nothing else there. In Disneyland, that would kind of be terrible because you're taken out of it. You're driving, you see businesses, you see other hotels, you're stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
And to get to another park, that just would be so weird. So Disneyland is so much different than Disney World. But that is where we would probably put it in our hypothetical little armchair imagineering here. But what could be this third gate? And before we talk about what we would want, we want to hear what the listeners have to say. And thank you, listeners, so much because you guys always have some great ideas. And it's always so fun to hear them. And then sometimes they're really like surprising. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Like,
and everybody has different ideas. Some people have similar idea. Like a lot of us have kind of thought the same thing, and then
Yeah.
someone else could come up with something totally different, which is
Yeah.
just fun to see.
It's so awesome. Do you want to kick
Yeah.
us off with the first little suggestion here?
Sure. So we had 2 followers at Enjoy Disney, Enjoy Life, and at Plan Disney with Jill. Both said a Villains Park would be awesome to see.
Oh yeah.
And we've talked about this in the past as well. We have 2 episodes where we talk about that same idea. The first one was basically just themed around Villain Park.
Yeah, like an actual park. Yeah.
Yes, a park dedicated to it. And then the other video where we talk about it, we talked about what the villain's land that supposedly will be coming to Magic Kingdom would look like. They talked about it at D23 earlier this year or last year. Wow.
Yeah, I know. Time.
Jeez, time is weird.
Yeah, that's the cool because like originally we were thinking Villains Park, and so that first video is literally a breakdown of different lands that you would see in the park and what would reside in those lands. So if you want to hear our ideas for that,
Really fun.
yeah, definitely go check that out. It's in our, maybe I could pop it up here on YouTube, but definitely check that out. And then the second video, yeah, it's just kind of a more concentrated one where that is going to be the land, and you know there won't be multiple lands in it. So
Yeah.
great ideas.
Good ideas. It would be so
Enjoy
fun.
Disney, enjoy life, and plan Disney with Jill. Great stuff. Yeah, that would be so awesome, and would be here for it.
Totally.
And then we got another one from at Pac Camacho, Pakk Camacho. It'd be a lot to spell. He said Kingdom Hearts, and oh my gosh, yeah, that would be so fun. I know a lot of people who are Kingdom Hearts fans, and I don't know. I just think theming the different lands, you could feel like you're on an adventure. The rides that you could have there would be so amazing.
Yeah.
So that would be a really cool idea.
Yeah. Very creative idea.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that idea before, but it does sound like it would be really fun.
So
fun
awesome.
Adventures
Yeah.
to go on.
For sure.
Our next one came from at Country Critters, and they said a smaller version of Disney Sea, which is a great idea
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
I
for
feel
that.
like we constantly hear about how amazing Disney Sea is.
Yeah.
And we don't have anything like that over here. So that would be so cool.
Yeah.
So different.
Oh yeah. That'd be awesome. I love everything. I don't know. I like water features, right?
Yeah,
Like the
me
Finding
too.
Nemo submarines I never go on, but I love seeing the water there.
It's just appealing to the eye. Anything with water is just like, it's I don't know.
beautiful.
It's like
Yeah.
relaxing or just, appealing. I don't know.
Yeah. I like that.
I'd be all
that'd be so
about
cool.
that.
Thank you, Country Critters. Oh, he has, gave a lot of suggestions in the past, and always love hearing from him.
Yes.
Great guy. Definitely go follow him if you want some amazing, like just Disney photography. Country Critters is the page to follow.
Yeah.
So next up, we got at Jordan the Swan. She said, a park that is truly all IP based attractions and lands. And that would be really awesome. I mean, something that you could just go into this land over here and you're kind of living out this adventure going over here. Like you could literally do Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, 4 different lands, and you kind of have everything there.
Man.
Kind of sounds similar to Epic Universe at Universal Orlando that will be opening up, I think this year or next year. I don't know. I don't really keep up with Universal, but I know that they are having a whole Harry Potter section, a whole like Universal Monster section,
Wow.
a whole How to Train Your Dragon,
Yeah.
Mario. And so it's really all IP based, and so that'd be really cool.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
sounds
thanks,
like
Jordan.
it would be very fun.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Not our last one. Second to last idea comes from it's Lauren Renee. She's a good friend of ours. She said a park full of underrated movies like Meet the Robinsons, Sword in the Stone, The Rescuers, Pinocchio, and The Great Mouse Detective. That is a very cool idea because I think that every Disney fan has like their specific favorites, and a lot of people have favorites that are not like typical favorites.
Yeah.
So it would be cool to just highlight some of those and have areas dedicated to them because you don't see those things around the park ever
Seriously, yeah.
currently in the current parks.
That'd be kind of like the the hipster park, like like, oh no, I'm a fan of this, like the underground thing. Like, have you heard of Meet the Robinsons?
Go to this park.
Oh, this is where I'm spending all my time. Yeah, no, I love that idea, Lauren. Thanks for sending that.
Very
I feel like, yeah, you could do some like Atlantis. Oh, the one, Treasure Planet. Oh yeah, that'd be so cool.
Yeah,
a Treasure Planet, like a Peter Pan type ride on the boat. There would be some cool stuff you could do there. Actually, if you want to get, I'm gonna say something before this one, but I have heard a couple of people suggest this who follow our page, and they didn't actually say or respond to our Instagram, but I have talked to them about this before. Some people were saying, imagine a park that is filled with all the extinct Disneyland attractions. I think I got a comment on our extinct Disney attractions episode, and that'd be crazy. Just say, hey, you remember this ride? It's like a nostalgia park. Remember Adventures Through Inner Space? Okay, we got it in here. You remember this ride, Superstar Limo? Maybe not Superstar Limo. Remember this ride? You go here, and it's like a nostalgia land. Maybe it's Dapper Day every day there. You better dress up if you're going to go to this park. That'd be crazy.
Wow.
That would be so fun.
That's a creative idea. I love that. That's so fun because there's so many rides that we have never been able to ride because they were from back then and they're all gone now.
Yeah.
Just put them in the park.
That'd be so cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. And our last follower suggestion idea, we had
most votes. Yeah.
Yes, we had 5 different people say the same thing, and this was our idea as well for this park. So we have Felicia's Magical Travels, who said, bring me Epcot. Jordan the Swan said Westcott would be insane. Main Street and Beyond said Westcott. Ashley Bell Marie said we need an Epcot or Animal Kingdom. And at Friend Like Melody said, bring back Westcott or anything Epcot-esque would be amazing.
Yeah.
This was definitely the most popular idea for the third gate.
Yeah.
So,
I think that, and like Ashley Bell Marie said, we were kind of going through this and I was like, oh, Animal Kingdom would be really cool too. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Florida has a temperament that is more like those animals, and so I'd feel weirder having an Animal Kingdom, although it would be amazing in Disneyland, so close to like the city and stuff like that. But Epcot / Westcott. And if you don't know what Westcott is, we're going to be explaining it in a short little second. But I think that is going to be
the most likely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree, because it was, as we'll talk about soon, it was very close to happening.
Yeah.
Couple years ago, and it didn't happen then, but
could happen for a third.
You never know; it could happen. So let's talk about.
Let's jump in.
What it was.
So Westcott, it is like it sounds, a West Coast version of Epcot, and so
but with some differences.
Not
exactly the same.
Yeah. So the history here goes that it was originally dreamed up by legendary Imagineer Tony Baxter. Tony Baxter, we love you. Westcott would be the West Coast version of Epcot, and this idea was actually conceived in the 1990s, but was later shelved due to financial constraints and limited space. And DCA is what took its place in 2001. So they were like, we need to expand. We have this parking lot. We can move this parking lot somewhere else. What could go here? And Tony Baxter came up with this idea of doing Westcott. But they were like, at that time, money was an issue, space was an issue. And then so they decided, Michael Eisner was like, you know what? I love the idea of celebrating California. Let's do something along those lines. And they came up with California Adventure. It wasn't the best thing there. And then it totally changed when Bob Iger came into place, and it just has so much charm now. So, so DCA, I'm glad that it's here, but if we could do a third park, Westcott would be our suggestion. And so that's why we are going to now just kind of like expand on this, because I think it is the most plausible. So you get to hear our idea for Westcott. And if you have your own ideas for Westcott, leave them down in the comments below or hit us up on Instagram to let us know.
Yes, definitely. So let's chat about what we think would be there next. So the featured lands that we would include in this park. So due to limited space, obviously we have a lot less space than Disney World. So we'd have to, in order to have countries and continents, you need a lot of space. So this is kind of hypothetical. I feel like it could or could not happen. If they were able to work really well with the space that they had, it could be something great.
Yeah.
But, it is a little bit hypothetical because who knows. But our Westcott would focus more on the World Showcase, but would have a small section dedicated to living and nature, removing the science and technology section to avoid technology as time goes on, just like we've seen with Tomorrowland. It's kind of hard to keep up with the rate at which technology grows. And the future is always now. So kind of hard to keep that constant in a park like that.
And I feel like most people who go to Epcot kind of go there for the World Showcase. Like the Future World stuff is great, but I feel like most people are there to kind of go to the World Showcase. So and so we would still kind of have I guess we would call it Future World, or I guess we would just kind of call it like I don't know, like just kind of a learning area. But the science technology, I just feel like would become a little bit stale soon because of the rate that technology is kind of expanding. So I think still having, and actually in Tony Baxter's original concept, he wanted there to be like living, nature and science. And so we would just kind of do that living in nature section. Yeah. And so I feel like that'd be cool. And so we would have living and nature sections, and they would kind of have an emphasis on like taking care of yourself for the living section and taking care of nature. So that whole like kind of conservation mindset. And so in the nature section, I feel like we could include the Moana walkthrough conservation attraction into that nature area, especially now that there's going to be a live action Moana, which is
news.
Literally, I was like, is this an April Fool's? And then I saw it was like posted April 3rd. I was like, oh, okay, it's definitely happening. So Moana will be relevant for a while. So I think we could still have like a water, taking care of our planet kind of section in that nature area, and maybe, obviously some other type of things there. But in the kind of living section, we thought it would be really cool to do something that's kind of like Figment, but change it a little bit. So have an inside out attraction here that would, talk about your emotions, your imagination, and how to be good to your mental health. And so, within that area, you can have a lot of other different things about the human body, how it works, kind of that Epcot type of thing. But the ride would be an inside out focused attraction, and just really kind of showcasing, how to deal with your emotions, which would be great for kids and adults. The wonders of your imagination, and then have a section about mental health. Would be really, really cool to see in a ride, especially since they're doing Inside Out 2. That will be relevant for a while as well. A little dark red there would be really cool.
I would love to see that. It'd be so fun. The World Showcase, Tony Baxter's original vision was to feature regions/continents instead of specific countries. These regions would include the Americas, Asia, Africa, and Europe. He also dreamed of having resorts in each of these regions so you can live out an Asian experience or European experience while staying there, which would just be so amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been on trips overseas to Europe before, and it's just so different from what you experience here, and to get to live that out in a Disney park would just be like next level.
Yeah.
It would be so amazing.
So awesome.
We've watched the Imagineering story on Disney Plus, and there's a whole section where Tony Baxter talks about his vision for this. And every time I hear him talk about it, it just sounds so good. Like what he wanted for it was just, it would have been so perfect.
Yeah.
And I really hope that at some point it can happen.
Yeah. And he talked about it as, real resorts within each continent or area. And the one thing he says that is just so beautiful, and it'd be so great if you had the space to do this. But he said, if you're living out your European experience and you're at a hotel there within the lands, you could walk out at 2 a.m., go to the wine bar that's literally in the park for, a little nightcap, and then walk to your room after that. And so, that idea is very, very cool and kind of lives on in a, smaller scope with California, the Grand Californian Hotel, where you're literally attached to the land, but you're not able to, actually go out into the land in the middle of the night. So, we want to honor his original vision of kind of just being fully immersed into that land. But due to space, I think instead of doing a full-on resort, these would be like smaller boutique hotels while still providing a huge amount of immersion. So instead of like housing tons and tons of people within each continent, have it a very limited number, and you have to really reserve it. And so it's really coveted. Maybe not make it as expensive as the Galactic Star Cruiser, but still, have that amount of people within there. And instead of like going out into the parks, because that just seems like a huge headache for, workers to actually, make sure that you're getting back to your hotel and not just wandering around Westcott. There could be areas within that boutique hotel that kind of open up to an outside, and you could have like a little wine bar or a little shop out there that's still confined to your resort. So you can still kind of feel like you're walking the streets in Asia or Europe, and still getting that kind of feel, but you're not actually being let out into Westcott to roam free. So just kind of bringing that down to a smaller, more intimate experience with still a lot of immersion within each hotel.
Oh yeah. I would love to see that. I think that would be such an amazing experience, and like nothing we have here, and not really like anything that Disney World has either. I would love that. It would be pretty amazing, and it would follow his vision for the park.
It'd be so cool. So
now we'll talk kind of about what we would imagine seeing in the lands within the park as well. So the continents, basically, what would be within those. So starting with the Americas, we're saying that we live in America.
Yeah.
North
America.
Yeah. So we wouldn't necessarily need anything from here because it's all kind of what we know. So we decided that we wanted to focus our ideas on South America. So that would be Colombia and Mexico were our ideas. So obviously Colombia would be for an Encanto house that kids can explore and run around. And Mexico for a Coco Omnimover ride through the land of the dead.
Yeah.
Because obviously we've talked about this before. Coco does not have enough representation. And Encanto at this point doesn't have anything yet either because it's still relatively new. So I think it would be really cool to have some areas dedicated to those movies because kids love them. They're, again, going to be relevant for a really long time. So it would be awesome to have those areas dedicated to those movies.
Yeah. And I feel like the Encanto house will almost feel like what they're trying to do with Toontown now, right? Like a big old casita where kids can, play around with the doors, and maybe the house interacts with what the kids are doing. Maybe there's like a musical section or just kind of make it a very interactive experience for the kids to just kind of run free and let loose there. And then Mexico, I just thought, Coco Omnimover would be great because Omnimover is also what's used in Haunted Mansion, that ride system. And that has to do with the dead.
Also spooky.
And and so you might as well do that for Coco. But yeah, kind of going through the land of the dead and just kind of going through the story. I feel like an Omnimover just works perfect for
it
that.
Would be perfect.
And as you'll hear our suggestions, these are pretty much all IP based attractions just because we do see Disney going that direction, right? Like Animal Kingdom has, Cali River Rapids that isn't tied to a Disney property. A lot of Epcot wasn't tied to a Disney property. But now they're changing rides to like Maelstrom into Frozen. They're trying to tie everything to Disney property. So a lot of these lands and rides are going to be there because there's a movie that represents that area. So as we jump into the next section, which is Asia, the areas that we would have would be China and Southeast Asia. And so we wanted to pick areas that weren't already in Epcot so that it would be different. But China, we just have to have within the Asia region because we need a Mulan ride. And so in China, we would have that ride. It could be like a trackless ride system, obviously amazing animatronics and projections, especially that final fireworks scene with Mulan and Shan Yu. So you need those projections in the background to really kind of immerse you into the story. That would be, we need more Mulan, and I think a dark ride, a trackless ride system. So it kind of feels like you're not on one track, but you kind of sneak over here to get good visuals and perspectives of what's happening. And then in Southeast Asia, we thought a Raya and the Last Dragon adventure course for, kids to get their energy out again, or a stunt show. And maybe if we're going to have like kind of a Encanto house where kids can run around, maybe a stunt show might be better since we already have something similar, with the Coco House. So maybe do a really cool Raya stunt show as your entertainment there, kind of similar to the Indiana Jones spectacular over in Hollywood Studios. But then right at the last second, we thought it'd be really cool to do an India section, if you have the space, to do a Jungle Book River Rapids adventure with animatronics. So it could be like Cali River Rapids meets Jungle Cruise. So you'd have Baloo, Mowgli, Bagheera, King Louie as you're on this water river rapids.
That would be so fun.
Adventure.
Space-wise,
that would be.
I feel like it could be very tough to pull that off.
That's kind of like, so this could be swapped with Southeast Asia if we want. So these are just kind of, there's like an extra idea depending on what you kind of think would go best. But that's like a side note. That would be pretty so awesome. Fun, though.
Because I feel like every park kind of needs at least one attraction where you can cool off.
Yeah. Exactly. Kind of. So that's the one.
I think that would be fitting. That would be so cool. So much fun.
Oh yeah.
Because another one, Jungle Book, has like
nothing.
Yeah. That would be so cool to have in that park.
Oh yeah.
Next up, we're talking about Europe. So the areas would be England and Scotland. So England, obviously, we would have to have some Mary Poppins in there. So we do a Mary Poppins ride, which would be so amazing and needed.
Well, because there were talks that they were going to do that in Epcot, and then that fell through. So it's like, to do one over here. Yeah, we need it. We need a Mary Poppins ride.
I know, Mary Poppins is iconic. So this Mary Poppins ride could be kind of Peter Pan-esque in terms of the ride system. So you'd kind of feel like you do in the Peter Pan ride, where it like takes you up there. You're on the ship, but I guess this maybe you would be in an umbrella.
Yeah,
I don't know. Easy. I don't really know how that would work, but there is definitely not enough Mary Poppins in the park. So
so true.
It's very needed to have something like that.
Oh yeah.
So after that, we would be going over to Scotland, where obviously we would have to have some Brave.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I mean, I don't know what you could do. Probably not another attraction. We're trying to stick to kind of like one ride per continent.
Land,
but maybe you do I don't know. You could either do like a not really
archery?
Like a Brave show. Yeah, no, archery. I'm like, would Disney have archery?
Weird.
You do some sort of adventure thing there, or kind of like in the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail, there's that section where you kind of see what your spirit animal is or something like that. Maybe there's kind of like a witch's tavern, and there's some spells that tell you what you turn into. I don't know. Like there could be some sort of Brave reference there, and I feel like that'd be really cool. And then maybe some Scottish music. Scottish music. That'd be cool.
Have to do that.
Yeah, that'd be so awesome. But we also thought, and we don't want to bring in other sections that Epcot already has, but if you we're going to do something to bring in a France section with like a walk through Cinderella attraction that's similar to Disneyland's Sleeping Beauty Castle. So that'd be cool. A Cinderella ride would be awesome, but if we are already going to be doing a Mary Poppins attraction, Mary Poppins ride, maybe doing like a, kind of walking through Cinderella's house, seeing kind of the story played out. As you walk through kind of like our Sleeping Beauty castle. But
I would love that.
If we want to do something else, these are just a couple ideas, so you could swap them. Greece would be awesome. There's no Greece in Epcot, and how you could bring some IP in there. You could do some Hercules reference. So I don't know what you could do. There could be. That could even be a show, or even a something you watch. I don't know. Meet and greet. Yeah, Greece would be really, really awesome in a Westcott. So
it would be.
I would be so down for that.
Yeah, just the visuals of it would be probably pretty amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Characters would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. So our last area. This is pretty short and sweet though. This area, because I think. It's an area, and obviously within all of these regions, you would have amazing restaurants, drinks as well. So you could drink around Westcott.
Yeah.
But
probably some stores. I mean, generally there's going to be some kind of gift store of some kind, or snack shop, something that could be based around a ride or something. Yeah. Or I mean, not a ride, a movie, one of the movies that area is based on.
For sure.
So.
And so for our last region, do you want to get this?
Sure. Well, I guess so. I mean, I know you love this movie that it's kind of going to be based on, but
we'll talk about it. You get to introduce it.
Okay. All right. So the last one would be Africa. Can't leave it out. It's just such a beautiful cultural place. And obviously Lion King would have to be front and center.
The first Lion King ride.
Yes. Because once again, we've been talking about how we need a Lion King ride for a long time. Yeah. And there's nothing. So a new park would be the place to do it, and definitely in Africa. So I think we've talked about this in past episodes as well. Yeah. Like how we would do a Lion King ride, but basically we would have it kind of like Indiana Jones, but a little bit less intense, with maybe a little more kid friendly. Yeah. But it's just such a fun ride system. I feel like you can go really fast, or you can slow down. You can, you feel all the movements a lot. I think it would be so fun to do that and go through, the elephant graveyard scene and maybe the wildebeest. I don't know. That's a very sad scene.
That's a sad scene. Yeah.
Maybe not, but
it could honestly be like an animatronic safari. So like Ashley Bell Marie said earlier, Animal Kingdom, it'd be so cool to have that. But if you didn't have that, to still kind of have a safari style attraction, but more animatronic. So it could even start like you're just someone going on a safari in Africa, and then you kind of get caught up in the Lion King storyline. And so you kind of just keep driving to see what's going to happen next, and then you're caught up in the storyline. But yeah, less bumpy so that kids can enjoy it too. I feel like that would just be so awesome with how amazing and just significant Lion King is to the Disney company. We don't have enough. We have the Lion King show in Animal Kingdom. We have another show here in Disneyland, but the fact that like Lion King will be one of the top Disney movies decades from now.
Forever.
So you might as well do a ride. And so I feel like this would be a perfect place to have the first Lion King ride.
I agree. Yep. It's so needed. So awesome. And it's one that kids can love. It's our age, grew up with it. Yeah. So we'll always love it. I mean, and our parents had us growing up on it. So,
and then the music within that ride would be amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yes. We need a Lion King ride. Yeah. It's time. It is seriously time. It has been for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our main ideas that we had for our Westcott. If that were to happen. It's, who knows what Disney has up their sleeve. It's hard to know what their kind of financial status is right now. Like what, because that would be a huge undertaking financially. Yeah. Big investment. I mean, they already make so much money, but if they opened another park within Disneyland, it would grow so much more. And I feel like it would just help so much with, spreading crowds out. Yeah. It's like we need it so much because Disneyland crowds have just grown exponentially over the years to where it's insane sometimes. And being able to draw some people into a different park would be amazing. Yeah. If they can do that at some point, I'm going to be very happy and very excited to see a new park.
Yeah, for sure.
On our side of things.
That'd be so cool. I mean, who knows? We're talking about it like it's not a high possibility, but give it a couple decades. They did that with California Adventure. No one thought they would turn a parking lot into a park, but they did.
There it is.
So who knows what they could do, in the future. Mm-hmm. And so it'd be
with
really, really
parking lots.
Yeah, with multiple parking lots.
The whole downtown Disney.
Yeah, it could be really, really awesome. But we just want to thank all of our listeners for giving the suggestions. We want to thank you for listening to our show. It truly means so much. And thank you for coming on this journey with us. And we will see you guys next week. We have an amazing guest that we cannot wait to talk to. And we know that you're going to love the episode and just our chat with her. So definitely stay tuned next week for that episode.
Yes, we're very pumped about it. It's going to be a great time. We're very excited to talk with this guest of ours. We've been planning this one for a couple months now. It's going to be exciting. So definitely tune in for it next week. Next Friday, the episode will be out. So we can't wait. So we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. See you then. Bye.
Bye.